Hello out there, all you citizens of the web. I will be today explaining how I transformed a crappy rubric into a more effective assessment instrument. First of all, a little bit about the project here. This is a differentiated assignment which asks students to analyze 3 poems that we read in class. And I differentiated this assignment based on kind of ability level, but also a little bit based on learning style. So the first set of assignments, these are just silly names I've given the groups. Parrotfish here is the first group, and they'll be finding some notes about one of the authors, and then discovering one other poem by the author and explaining that to the class. One level up, the giant squid group will be defining some terminology here related to poetry and creating personal examples, and then analyzing one poem and trying to find at least an example of figurative language in the poem, which they then illustrate. Next up here, this is a little bit of a synthesis, asking the students to create a Venn diagram using 2 of the poems, and once again create a visual representation for the poem, but the Venn diagram a little bit more difficult. The next one up is the same, except for they're asked to use all 3 of the poems to Venn diagram all 3 of the analyzed poems, and once again a picture. And then here at the top of the list, the poison dart frog, which is invariably one of the coolest animals. Anyway, and this one requires the students to take Walt Whitman's poem I Hear America Singing, which really is kind of a catalog poem, discussing the different types of people that he sees as part of America, the mechanic and the carpenter and so forth, working class Americans, and ask the students to rewrite that poem using his first and last lines, and then rewriting the middle to include what they see of as part of America. So I'm really proud of this project, but when I went to grade it, at the time that I created it, I just sort of came up with this because all of them are different. They'll have 2 parts, and they all have a group aspect and a presentation aspect. So I kind of made this general rubric that would cover all of those. And I was kind of proud of this. There's 12 total points in or 24 total points when you multiply by 2. And I gave it a 20, so students can still earn 100 even if they're just sort of here in the middle on a couple of these things. That it's not a kind of all or nothing thing, that perfection isn't really expected there. But as you can see, these are really general. It doesn't really give kids any idea of what they are supposed to give me in the end. And so I thought I would try to, for this project, try to improve that, and show you what I came up with. So here's the same project, but then interpolated here within the parrotfish group is a rubric that I created specifically for the parrotfish group. So over here, these things are pretty much the same explanational lines with the presentation aspect, but I went ahead and made sure that they could see precisely for the notes that they create what it is that I'm trying to have them do. And this was especially useful. Well, I can continue to scroll down here, and left a space for comments there. And again, the scoring criteria is basically the same, but a little bit clearer as to what my expectations are, I think. And down here, this was especially helpful. The group ethic row is the same on all of these, and that was helpful for the kids to understand. Some of them did lose points when they did this, and that was easier for me to be able to point to, hey guys, we need to get back on task. Groups you guys are arguing, for example, or would you guys please make sure you're paying attention, or it looks like just one of you is doing a lot of this work, and it was easier for them to see how their behavior on the group part of the project was reflected by the rubric there. And similarly in the explanation area, how what they did in front of the class kind of showed up there on the rubric. And I could point to specific things as they progressed on the rubric to help them do the best that they could. And actually one of these groups just presented today, and nobody made below a 90. So I really feel like this is a sort of a successful revision of the rubric, and that's that.